Hey, Searnold.
What's up, Zach?
I have a question. It's a very specific, nuanced, and detailed question. It's going to be very specific and weird, but are you okay?
I'm ready. Yeah,
Okay.
What is it?
So what's like Spider-Man's whole deal?
Warning. This podcast contains extreme spoilers from Amazing Spider-Man 802 through 826, as well as a bunch of other stuff that happens before that.
Hey, everybody, this is the DoomBots Podcast, and we're your DoomBots. I'm Zach,
I'm Searnold. Hello.
and we know it's hard to keep up with Marvel Comics because there's just so many of them all the time, so what we've decided to do is just spoil them all for you.
Woohoo!
Actually, basically doing recaps for people who can't or won't be interested in doing all of this research by themselves and rereading everything, so we're doing it for them. And by we, I mean Searnold, because I don't understand anything that's going on, and my understanding of Spider-Man is relegated mostly to the films about him. So, what we're going to do is get a Class A education in Spider-Man right now. So, Searnold, what's Spider-Man's deal? What's Spider-Man? What's he doing? What's he up to?
So, Spider-Man. He's always been my favorite character. So I have a lot to talk about today.
You're wearing a Spider-Pig shirt
I
right now.
am, actually, yes.
Yeah.
So, about 2 years ago, a new writer took over the mantle of Spider-Man. His name's Nick Spencer. I tend to like him as a writer. He does some good stuff. For the 10 years before that, the guy writing Spider-Man was Dan Slott. He had this huge, literally 10-year run on Amazing Spider-Man.
Wow.
And he did all sorts of stuff with Peter and adventures and things. And now they're kind of setting him back to his status quo.
And how do you feel about that?
Well, I actually really like it. I think as a creative project, the balancing of these Marvel characters, they have to kind of stay iconic and the same throughout, time over 10-year periods or whatnot. But if they don't ever change, then the stories are completely meaningless. And so finding a way to balance that, I think, is a very interesting creative challenge.
So how did Dan Slott change Peter and the Spider-Man character, and in which ways are Nick Spencer bringing him back to his status quo?
So one of the major ways was that while Tony Stark was out of the picture, dead for all intents and purposes, he wasn't actually, but that's a whole thing.
It's always a whole thing.
Peter started his own company that basically became as big of a tech company as Stark Industries, and he became a super billionaire tech genius and was like funding the Avengers. And so that was a whole big thing. He also got his brain taken over by Dr. Octopus for a while, so his body
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, Doc Ock did a brain switch.
Just did a brain switch?
Yeah.
You know how those brain switches...
Sure.
What?
You hook him up to the brain switching machine, and you push the brain switch button, and then it's like,
Yeah.
and now Dr. Octopus is in Spider-Man's body, and
he
Spider-Man
did
is in
evil as
Dr. Octopus. Well, no, it's a whole thing. But basically, when Doc Ock went into Spider-Man's body, he also got Peter's memories, and so now he had Peter's and Doc Ock's memories, and he was like, oh, being a good guy, I get it now, because of Peter. And so he had Doc Ock's personality, but was determined to be good.
All right, sure. But his personality is evil asshole, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why it was an interesting story.
Okay, what happened to Doc Ock's body?
He died. So Peter was ostensibly dead, but then the memories of Peter inside of Doc Ock sort of took hold and formed a personality, and eventually Doc Ock realized that the responsible thing to do as a new good guy was to give Peter back his body.
So where did Doc Ock's personality go?
Well, first he was in a robot, and now he's in a clone body of Peter.
Of Peter?
Yeah. He's still in a Peter body. A Spider-Man body.
Okay. Let's move on from this. Before any of the
but they're working
questions.
on moving things, rolling things back, and getting to the new status quo.
Yeah, and this was like a 2-3 episode arc that this happened.
Yeah, 2 or 3 years.
2 or 3 years.
Uh-huh.
Years?
Uh-huh.
Full ass years.
Uh-huh.
Full ass years. Dr. Octopus.
Like human years.
Like our
Earth
years?
Yeah, not like
like
comic
36
years.
issues.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That wasn't supposed to be the topic of the episode
I know.
today,
Okay.
Zach. We were supposed to be
look,
talking about what comes after that.
I understand that, but okay, let's just move on as if this is going really well.
So one of the things that I think is very iconic about Peter Parker is the fact that he doesn't have a lot of money, and his struggle to make ends meet while being Spider-Man, while being responsible to the people that he loves. All that juggling is something that I think is very iconic of that character's struggles. And so, they had his company sort of tank, and now he's back to being poor. And as I teased last week, one of the fun things about him being poor is that he needs roommates, and his new roommate is the C-list villain Boomerang.
I would like to pause again really fast. I just wanted to point out, and this is just me being a radical anti-capitalist type, but that being said, when you're super rich, you're just never poor again. So that doesn't really make any sense.
That's fair, yeah.
Because,
money in the Marvel Universe is really, really weird.
Yeah, okay,
and doesn't make sense at all.
Adhere to our economic structure.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that they have, aliens and shit, but, other stuff is human. They still have normal architecture.
They do,
And
yeah.
so, there's no reason to assume the economics would be different. It is theoretically a human analog, a human Earth analog.
Again, it's a very strange... Because it's supposed to be our world. It's supposed to resemble...
He lives in New York.
Exactly. But there's so much sci-fi shit going on and being discovered that, the idea that wouldn't have an effect on day-to-day life and technology is fundamentally ridiculous.
Yeah, that's true. It's like in that scene in Dark Knight Rises when his money gets stolen from the stock market and the next day they turn off the power to his house. Presumably, he had already paid his bill that month. So they were just like, oh, we heard about your misfortune. We're going to shut you off early, which makes no sense.
No.
That's not how that's not how money works. Even for not rich people, that's not how money works.
That's fair.
And so the same thing with this, just because he's a company, all of his money wouldn't be in stock. He would have a checking account, presumably, and he would have savings in offshore bank accounts.
Yeah, apparently he spent all that on spider webbing fluid.
Sure.
Though, of course, he used to buy web fluid with, a photographer's salary, so...
Yeah, that's my whole... Okay, it's fine. I get it. Make him poor. That's fine. I mean, it would make as much sense to just make him poor through magic.
They do some of their resetting through magic sometimes. One of the major events that happened just before Dan Slott's run... Actually, I think this was almost 15 years ago now.
Unrelated to this, I do like that his name sounds like Dance a lot. So that makes me happy.
Yes. Peter revealed his identity to the entire world. Then Doctor Strange did a magic spell so that everybody forgot his identity.
Feels real, Deus Ex Machina-ish, his magic powers they are.
Doctor Strange's magic is one of my biggest problems with the nature of the Marvel Universe.
I am excited to get to that episode.
He very frequently will be like, oh, this spell requires so much and there will be a cost and you can't just do this kind of awesome magic for free. He very rarely actually has to pay any type of cost.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's keep going.
So lots of people don't know Peter's identity anymore, and
he's poor.
And he's poor. So Boomerang...
oh, yeah. What?
So Boomerang is an Australian baseball pitcher who did some evil shit, and so he got kicked out of baseball.
If I'm wrong, he's on the Suicide Squad?
Is there a Boomerang guy on the Suicide Squad?
How are there two different Boomerangs?
I mean, it's a very generic power.
Why is that a power?
Boomerang.
Why is that a power for anyone?
Well, kind of like Bullseye, how Bullseye's really good at throwing.
All things. Well, not just Boomerangs.
Boomerang is specifically really good at throwing boomerangs.
So is Captain Boomerang. They just added Captain to the DC one?
No, they took out Captain.
For the Marvel one.
Yeah, don't worry about it. They can't have the same name.
No, but they can have exactly the same powers. Boomerang-related powers. All right, whatever.
I mean, how many sword-related power guys are there?
Swords are... No. There are so many different swords.
What do you know about boomerangs? Maybe there are a bunch of different boomerangs. Are you a boomerang expert?
Fine. Okay.
Boomerang is a C-list character that Nick Spencer has a particular affinity for because back in 2013, he wrote a series called Superior Foes of Spider-Man, where Boomerang was the star. He put together this gang of C-list villains to try to take down Spider-Man, and it was mostly a comedy about how all of their shit backfired and didn't go well because they're C-list villains.
Wasn't Paste Pot Pete one of...
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. But he goes by the Trapster now, so don't call him Pete.
Oh, yeah. Trapster's way better.
So
Who is Boomerang? He's
He's
an
just a
Australian
guy
pitcher.
that throws boomerangs.
You mentioned Australian pitcher at some
Yeah, he
point?
was a pitcher for the Australian Baseball League. He did some evil shit, so he got kicked out of that, and he's like, shoot, now I have no money. I guess I'll become a villain and throw boomerangs.
So how does he live with his biggest enemy?
So
his biggest C-list enemy?
Boomerang's identity is out and public.
So Peter knows that he is Boomerang?
Yes.
And Peter's just okay with that?
Let's start 1 minute before.
Sure.
Boomerang stole something from the Kingpin. Spider-Man was chasing him to be like, wait, what's going on here? And he didn't catch Boomerang. And so he's like, I wonder what Boomerang stole from the Kingpin. And then later that day, Boomerang answers the roommate wanted notice for Peter Parker's apartment. And Peter's like, haha, chance to solve mystery.
I mean, that chance just fell pretty squarely in your lap.
It's a little ridiculous, but the two of them as roommates is amazing because he is the worst roommate of all time. And Peter can't get rid of him because he's like, I gotta figure out what he stole, but I can't just come out and tell him I'm Spider-Man. And
Flawless Peter Parker.
And so one of the things that is really very interesting about their dynamic is trying to figure out whether or not
Oh my god, you have so many
Boomerang
notes.
is a-
Sorry guys, I'm listening at home. I just looked over at Searnold's notes for this episode, and this episode is going to be 4.5 hours long.
I'm very well prepared to
Holy
talk about
shit.
Spider-Man.
Oh my god.
Okay, so one of the things that I really
Other
like...
episodes, there was a bunch of robots, don't worry about it, you're fine. This episode, well, so Boomerang's from Australia, and his name... Okay, anyway.
Yeah, we're definitely going to run out of time
Holy
before we
shit.
finish talking about
This
what I
might
have
be a
notes about.
two-parter.
So, remember when Captain America was a Nazi?
Sure. What? Yes, I vaguely remember reading that. He was Hydra.
Yes, he was Hydra, which is the
Nazi
Marvel
equivalent,
analog
yeah.
for Nazis.
Except they're also Nazis.
There are also Nazis, but not in the present.
Right. So they're like the alt-right.
They are, yeah.
Okay, got it.
So Boomerang actually fought against him during that battle, and so he was granted clemency for his crimes.
We fought against Nazi Captain America.
That's right, yeah.
Okay. What crimes do you have to commit where the only way you get clemency is fighting Nazi Captain America?
I mean, he's a supervillain. He blows
Is
up
he a
banks and steals
supervillain?
stuff.
Is he a super villain?
He is a costumed villain.
He throws boomerangs.
Lots of his boomerangs explode, though, so they do more damage than you'd think.
Well, the amount of damage I think is 0. So I guess, all right. Anyway, let's keep going.
So he's got immunity from his past crimes. The dynamic between him and Peter is he reformed? Or is he just sort of pretending to be reformed so that he can maintain his immunity? And he is the worst roommate of all time. He leaves his shit everywhere. He plays Call of Duty Latveria at all hours of the night. He eats all of Peter's food, like standard terrible roommate stuff.
Do you think Peter's ever like, man, I remember when I was a multi-billionaire.
Occasionally.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Man, I should just go start a new company.
You know, that's not a bad idea. But he's got this current stuff that he's dealing with that's taking up all of his time.
Spying on his roommate.
That's right.
Yeah, it's much more productive.
They go to a bar for supervillains called the Bar with No Name
Ooh.
because it is Spider-Man trivia night.
Okay. Okay. What? That's fantastic.
And everyone knows that Peter Parker knows Spider-Man. Peter published a book of all of his pictures of Spider-Man, so that is sort of
He is
famous.
really not about being low-key, is he?
Well, there's a lot to it. One of the things he
shit,
did
really?
while he was a big CEO was hire one of his friends to pretend to be Spider-Man so that he and Spider-Man could be seen together a lot. And so that created a lot of credibility for him just being this guy who knows Spider-Man. And one of the main things
That's
he
such a
did
good
with his
idea.
company was create tech for Spider-Man. So everyone knew that he was Spider-Man's weapons designer.
You know what I would like to see? I would like to see the conspiracy theory message boards in a universe where literally anything is possible.
That would be amazing.
That would be fantastic.
Yes.
And every answer would be like, yeah, probably. Like, this is almost definitely true. I bet they switch brains. It's like, yeah, I bet that's true. It's happened many times. There's no reason not to think that.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, keep going.
So while they're there, the Kingpin, who's mayor of New York now, by the way, did I mention that?
I don't know. We've mentioned so many things that have just warped my brain.
That
All right.
happened in a Daredevil comic.
But how? You know what? It's basically what's happening now anyway. Okay, keep going.
Kingpin puts out a hit on Boomerang while they're at the bar with no name, surrounded by all these villains, and Boomerang actually protects Peter, thinking that Peter is his innocent roommate. We as readers are sort of going along with Peter in this, I don't know what to think about him. Is he just a jerk? Is he trying to reform? Is he evil? I don't know. What did he steal from Kingpin? I don't know. Turns out he stole this magic thing called the Lifeline Tablet, and they haven't finished telling that story yet.
What does it do?
Basically makes you immortal.
All right. Well, the Kingpin probably shouldn't have that.
No.
I mean, is it possible they stole it from the Kingpin to prevent him from having it?
Well, that's kind of that's the thought process, is like maybe he didn't steal it for selfish, evil reasons.
But also, he would probably also want that.
Probably, yeah, because he's a selfish, evil guy. So it's like, I don't know. Anyways, I find that dynamic to be very interesting. So I've enjoyed going on that ride with them, even if it doesn't necessarily make sense for Peter to be poor again.
So we're done. That's it? That's all that's going on with Peter?
That's it. That's everything that's been happening with Spider-Man since Nick Spencer took over.
Cool. Nick Spencer's obsessed with this bosom buddies dynamic. It's real weird. I mean, it's cool, but I mean, like, I don't know, a plot, maybe.
Nah.
So what's next?
One of the things that Nick Spencer has been building to is a huge reveal with a new big bad named Kindred. And let me show you a picture of Kindred so you can see. This is what he looks like.
Okay, let me describe this to you. We're looking at, like, a mummy in a hoodie with scorpion arms like Doc Octopus.
So those are actual centipedes that he controls and kills people with.
Are they part of him?
No, they're separate.
Oh, okay. They just look like they're coming out. So he controls giant evil centipedes, and he looks like he's a mummy.
He's a demon.
Okay.
So he escaped from hell.
Like a red straitjacket hoodie.
Yeah.
We'll post that on.
He's trying to hide his identity.
Okay. But his identity is a demon, right?
We don't know who he is, and that...
He's got sentient centipedes.
Yes.
And his face is a demon's face.
Well, there's something underneath all that mummy wrapping.
Yeah, more demon.
I mean, he is from hell, and he did fight his way out of hell. But
so there's a literal hell.
There are many different types of hells
we don't have time
that
for this.
different people go to, depending on what story Marvel is trying to tell.
What year and who's trying it? I know. Okay. All right.
All we know is that Kindred has some sort of connection and vendetta against Spider-Man.
Kindred is such a interesting name because it's like not like a mummy snake or like bloodletter or like it's like just a name of a person.
He makes a point of making sure that no one knows his real name for a while he's being built up in the background. We don't even know what to call him. Eventually, Mysterio is like, I'm going to say his name. And he's like, no, you will call me Kindred.
So Mysterio knows his real name?
Mysterio knows his real name. Kindred helped Mysterio get out of hell.
Mysterio was in hell?
Yeah, because he died.
When did Mysterio die?
Like 20 years ago. I don't know.
I don't know why that surprised me. He was just in the recent movie, I guess.
Yeah, well, he's come back.
All right.
Because Kindred helped him get out of hell.
Didn't he just make illusions?
Yeah, but like with special effects more than
not
with
even
magic.
any magic at all, right?
Yeah.
This doesn't feel like that's that powerful of a...
Well, back in the 60s, you know.
Yeah, but all right. We got to talk about this movie, too, at some point. But anyway, let's keep going.
So what Kindred says to Mysterio is, I walked you out of hell once, Quentin. It won't be hard for me to drag you back down there with me. I know Pete better than he knows himself. What I want is some groundwork established, and no one knows how to set the stage quite like you.
That was good. I thought you were going to do your, like, Seinfeld voice again. Like,
you know, I try to mix it up.
That's good.
So the thing about that I don't understand.
All of it? All of the words that were said?
Kindred is supposed to be this ominous thing that's going on in the background that's building up towards an inevitable confrontation of some kind.
Yes.
And he starts by saying, Mysterio, Quentin, I brought you out of hell to help set the stage for what I'm going to do. And here's what he has Mysterio do. Mysterio writes a screenplay for Mary Jane so that Mary Jane has to fly out to L.A. to film this movie.
Okay.
That's it.
Also, what?
That's it. That's his big plan for Mysterio. And I'm like,
to
what?
write a screenplay?
To get rid of Mary Jane.
Right, but you could go to any Starbucks. You don't have to fight someone's way out of hell. Just go to any Starbucks and say, I have a screenplay opportunity, paid, ignore these centipedes. Okay.
He wants to make sure it's a good screenplay. So he hires the best, hell's best screenplay writer,
But he was a
Quentin
special
Beck.
effects artist.
Well, he wants to do more. He wants to branch out.
I get
and
he
expand.
wants to, but he has no track record for being a screenplay writer.
Well, he does now. So one of the other things that makes Kindred much more ominous than this is that Kingpin literally bows down to him and is somehow serving him in some purpose that we don't quite understand. That actually established some power for Kindred.
Yeah, that's way more surprising than asking... Well, it's not more surprising than asking Mysterio to write a screenplay for Mary Jane. I feel that Kindred could have just done that.
Kindred's doing other things, like manipulating and killing people.
In the amount of time it took you to bust somebody out of hell, I bet you could have just whipped up a cheap 110-page
Have you ever tried to write a good screenplay? Well, how long do you think it takes to break out of hell?
I don't know, but it feels like it's way more effort.
You're probably right.
Okay, also, I know Peter better than he knows himself?
Yes.
What is that supposed to mean?
Well, we don't know. And so
Is it Aunt May?
We don't know. Wait,
what?
That's the thing. It
That would be
could
amazing.
be anybody. So lots of people are speculating about lots of different things that he could be. One of the main theories is that it's Uncle Ben. Because this has been building up for 2 years, okay? If this reveal is not amazing, then it's going to be a massive, massive letdown.
You hear that, Nick Spencer?
So people are theorizing...
No pressure, brah!
Things like Uncle Ben or Gwen Stacy. One of the easy answers would be if it's one of his clones, but I feel like even that would just be kind of a big letdown at this point, because that's not surprising or interesting.
Jesus.
There you go. I wouldn't see that one coming. It was heavily implied that he is Harry Osborn, Norman Osborn's son. So
I could see that.
That could be interesting. The problem with that is that Harry Osborn is currently alive.
Oh, well.
So I'm not
so
entirely
is
sure.
Kindred. I mean, he's here. They could just take the fucking bandages off.
Could be, yeah. So that will be interesting. Well, it could be extremely interesting. It could also be the greatest letdown of the past 5 or 6 years. Who knows?
Hear that, Nick Spencer?
No pressure or anything.
Yeah.
So one of the other things that has changed about Peter's status quo that looks like they're actually going to stick with this for a while. J. Jonah Jameson knows who he is.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, in a very heartfelt issue where Jonah was doing an interview of Spider-Man, and it sort of went down this rabbit hole of why have we been so angry at each other and why have we been antagonizing each other for so long. Jonah sort of opened up about how alone he felt and how much of a failure he felt like he was. And that really resonated with Peter, and so he felt like they could solve this conflict if he showed him who he was.
Wow.
Yeah, so now instead of being Spider-Man's biggest critic, he's Spider-Man's bosom buddy. And
staunchest ally.
He's got a morning talk show now where he's all about, yeah, go Spider-Man. Spider-Man's the best. All right, Spider-Man.
So weird.
Yeah.
That's kind of great, though. Like
I like it a lot.
His antagonism of Spider-Man always felt, well, it felt sort of arbitrary, but it also felt like a really interesting commentary on media, too. Where that whole if it bleeds, it leads thing, you need an enemy, that kind of stuff, which I'm sure was the original point of that. That's a really interesting dynamic change.
So they have a fun story together where they get kidnapped. One of the things that often bothers me about Marvel Comics stories, if Spider-Man needs to have this amazing, heroic comeback, you can break every single bone in his body and he's beaten down and he's defeated, but he has one dynamic scene about how important it is that he fight back and win for his friends and his family, and he can do it, and hurrah, and now he's okay. But if you need to tell a story about how he and Jonah get kidnapped, then he jumps in front of a bullet to, save Jonah and gets knocked out, and so now they're kidnapped.
Okay.
It's like his level of ability to fight through wounds varies drastically.
Well, I also like how one of his superpowers, people don't talk about this very much, it's a little known superpower, but just determination heals his bones, just outright, which is pretty interesting.
It is, yeah.
Anyway, so they got kidnapped.
So they get kidnapped, and
he kidnaps them?
Is a guy named the Big Man, who was
very creative.
He was one of the first criminals in Spider-Man.
Sure.
This was before there was a Kingpin, before there was a Green Goblin. There was the Big Man.
Man, comics were great.
And
the bad guy.
That's right.
I am the hero.
Jonah helped put him away. It turned out that he was a staff member on the Daily Bugle, and he ended up dying. So his kid now has taken on the mantle of the Big Man, and he wants revenge, and rah, 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 rah.
Got it.
And the thing that I think is interesting about that is how much faster villains' children grow up than heroes' children's do. Because how many villains' kids by this point in time have grown up and taken on their parents' mantle, right? Whereas if you look at someone like Franklin Richards, who's Fantastic Four's son, he's still like 13.
That's such a good point. I never would have thought of that point.
But all of the villains' children
point.
that, we see in a flashback how he was this boy at his dad's funeral that was getting all, upset and building in this rage. And now he's a grown man. And it's like, well, how come you're a grown man now, but none of these other people are?
How does time work in Marvel? Is there, a set? Okay, nope. That look you gave me just says this is its whole own episode.
Approximately 1 year in Marvel passes for every 7 years that pass of human time.
It's like reverse dog age?
Yeah. There's also something called sliding time.
Oh, sweet God.
The Marvel Universe basically started when Fantastic Four #1 was published, and they went out into space and got their powers. That was the first modern Marvel comic.
Okay. That was pre-X-Men?
That was pre-X-Men. Yeah.
Okay.
Not by a long time, just by a year or two. But
Sure. Yeah.
So that happened approximately 13 years ago.
What?
Whenever now is.
It didn't occur to me what the 1 to 7 dynamic would mean in that terms.
So currently, the Fantastic Four's big rocket flight that turned them into superheroes happened in the early 2000s. Whereas in 1980...
It happened
in the
early 60s. Or
right.
whatever.
And
wow.
So, sliding time.
Got it.
Doesn't always make sense, but...
Or ever.
What you gonna do?
So you're telling me that his company collapsed and he went broke in 2 months?
Yeah, or less. So another thing that they're working on setting back to a status quo is having Black Cat be a good guy.
Okay.
Black Cat is a thief that is also Spider-Man's friend.
Is that right?
Yeah.
The Black Cat is a thief who's the hero's friend.
I know.
And that hero lives with Boomerang.
Yeah.
No, I'm not okay with any of that similarity.
So for a while they were
That's just Catwoman.
Yeah, but Felicia Hardy actually has superpowers.
I mean, I guess cat burglar is just a term, but
she has bad luck
sexy
superpowers.
Hero thief. What are bad luck superpowers?
People around her have bad luck.
It's like the opposite of Domino?
Yeah.
All right.
So for a while, they had taken her down a villainous path. When Dr. Octopus was controlling Peter's body, he captured her and took her to jail, and she was all pissed about this, and so she became the new kingpin of crime for a while.
Because she didn't know that
she did not.
was in his brain. Okay,
right.
Got it. She just thought that her friend turned into a real asshole all of a sudden.
Right.
Got it.
So they've been doing a lot of work to sort of redeem her from having been a straight-up villain for a couple years. And there's this story arc where the Thieves Guild steal a bunch of superhero things, technology and weapons and whatnot. And Black Cat knows how to get it back because she's a member of the Thieves Guild. And so she and Spider-Man go and infiltrate. And they get it back and it's like, yeah, we're working together again. It's doing good. And then they have a really poignant moment together that I like a lot, so I'm gonna read it for you.
All right.
This is Black Cat talking about why she went down such a dark path. There's been this thing clawing at the back of my head. I couldn't put my finger on it for the longest time, but finally I figured it out. I don't remember you. Oh, right, that. Well, see, I kind of told a few billion too many people my secret identity. It turned out really badly, so with some help, we figured out a way to make everybody forget. Everybody? I'm not everybody, Spider. We were together, and now I can't remember what your face looks like, what your name is. Do you have any idea how that feels? We shared something, real feelings, and it's like a part of my life went missing. And I deserve to remember. I deserve better than that.
That was good. That was a good read. Really good read. What? What do you mean they were together?
Oh, they were boyfriend and girlfriend.
What? Oh, okay.
Throughout most of the 80s.
Well, what about Mary Jane? What about that? I thought they were like a thing the
Mary
whole
Jane
time.
and Peter Parker didn't get married until like the late 80s.
Late 80s of what sliding time period? Because apparently they got married.
Time.
They got married 20 years before Fantastic Four got their powers.
Well, not anymore.
I know not anymore.
Peter Parker has actually had a lot of girlfriends besides Mary
Straight banging
Jane.
all over New York.
Yeah? Liz Allen, Gwen Stacy, Betty Brant,
Liz
Deborah
Allen?
Whitman.
Well, okay, you know what? We're going to be here for goddamn ever if I ask you about all these
Carly
things that aren't
Cooper.
even currently happening.
Felicia Hardy.
Okay, let's go back. So, Felicia's mad that she got her brain wiped.
Because of the spell that Doctor Strange did.
Understandably.
And so that spell went back and even erased people's memory of his secret identity that he had told willingly.
That does include Jonah, or did he happen
That was after.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And so I really liked that moment. And so then he does reveal himself to her and he says, hey, I'm Peter.
They're not currently together.
No.
He's married to Mary Jane right now?
No.
Okay.
That is another thing that Nick Spencer is working on in terms of resetting the status quo. Back when Peter revealed his identity and they did the magic that erased that,
yes,
one of the things that did was annul their marriage. Yes, lots of fans were extremely mad about that because it doesn't make any sense. Mary Jane made a deal with Mephisto to save Aunt May's life. That was part of their attempt to set things back to a status quo where Peter is a bachelor, and his attempt to balance dating girls without revealing his secret identity is part of his sort of too many responsibilities juggling act. Mary Jane was upset when Peter made everybody forget his identity that he didn't let Mary Jane forget. She wanted to forget so that she could stop worrying about him. So they broke up.
Broke up? They're married.
Joe Quesada, who was the editor-in-chief at the time, didn't feel like it was okay for them to get a divorce because Peter has this moral integrity. So instead of just letting them get a divorce, he used Mephisto to do retconning and erased their marriage from time. I think it would have been great if they'd just gotten divorced because there aren't enough divorced icons out there as heroes
to normalize the...
Yeah.
But hold on. That's more fucked up to just erase their relationship.
Morally, is it?
Yeah.
Well, that's debatable because it's
Well,
not
based on
something you
whose
can do for
morals?
real. The problem for Quesada is that divorce is too real, whereas retconning the past and erasing something with magic is not a real moral decision. That is a fictional moral decision.
Fine, but what's wrong with having real moral decisions? Or complicated characters?
Well, his justification is that
horseshit.
Spider-Man... And yes, most of the populace agrees with you. So Nick Spencer is working on re-putting back a different status quo. He and Mary Jane are back together in a boyfriend-girlfriend capacity. They're trying to make it work again. That's another thing that's interesting about trying to maintain a status quo for Spider-Man. Whose status quo, right? Is he the Bachelor, or is he married to Mary Jane? Our generation grew up with him married to Mary Jane.
But here's my problem with this. I think a character like Spider-Man is a character whom people should look up to and idolize in a way. And I don't think it makes sense, or is, if we're talking about healthy moral decisions, makes sense to idolize a character who remains in a state of arrested development and adulthood infancy, where he doesn't develop and he doesn't change and he doesn't grow. Mm-hmm. It's great that those problems are there, but it's not like you don't have juggling responsibilities as a problem when you're an adult with a real job.
That's fair.
Like when you're running a company and you're also Spider-Man, I'm pretty sure there's a whole shit ton of different juggling that you would have to do. And this is nothing against Nick Spencer. I mean, I think that it's great that you're bringing it back to a status quo of familiarity. But my concern is having something that is against showing characters learn and grow, because the people reading them should know that learning and growing doesn't make you not who you are anymore. You're still the same person, even if you develop and better yourself.
I like that. That's very good. There's an alternate future where Peter and Mary Jane have a kid together. And some of those stories are really good, because talk about juggling responsibility when you have a kid, right? But I can't imagine that the Peter Parker in the present Marvel universe will ever grow up to that stage, because Marvel as a corporate entity needs him to be the iconic character that they can sell merchandise and make movies and make TV on.
And that's really unfortunate, because it would be great to see him actually develop as a person.
I agree. Yeah.
And I'm not saying he has to become a shitty billionaire. At least he was giving a bunch of his money to Avengers. It's more than any billionaire else is doing to help people. You can be poor and be married and have a kid, and that's not a bad thing.
It's true.
You know, like, I'm not a huge fan of the idea of him being rich and running a company. I don't think he would even do that. One of his whole points is he can't even get his fucking homework done because he's always being Spider-Man. You definitely wouldn't be able to start a tech company if you were also being Spider-Man. You'd have to just stop doing any of your hero stuff, and that seems far outside the realm of his character, to me, anyway. It's neat that he's bringing it back to status quo. It's neat that he's making a character who's a hard luck, hard scrabble character again with a roommate. I think that's great. I just think that they shouldn't shy away from also making him a functional adult, too.
I would like to see that, yeah. So the other thing Nick Spencer has been trying to do, are you familiar with the character Kraven the Hunter?
I know the name, and I've seen pictures of him in a loincloth.
Yes, he wears a loincloth.
And he's like a circus act, right? Or he's Russian, maybe?
Wait, is he a circus act or is he Russian? I get those two confused.
I get all of Russia mixed up with the traveling circus sometimes.
He is Russian. Yes. And he looks like a lion tamer.
That's where I think I got that from.
Yes. But he is, he's this hunter guy who's...
Sorry, keep going.
He's all about the hunt and the beast and asserting your dominance as the predator or the prey. He has, over the years, become obsessed with Spider-Man, whom, for, a long time, Spider-Man was the only beast that Kraven was never able to conquer.
Because he's like 10,000 times stronger than him.
Well, no, Kraven has super strength, too.
Oh, he does? Oh,
yeah,
I thought he was just like a hunter.
They should be a match. They should be a match for each other.
I can kill a leopard. Well, no shit, bro.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Good job. Killed a leopard. Anyway, sorry.
In 1987, one of the stories that is considered one of the best all-time Spider-Man stories was called Kraven's Last Hunt, where Kraven finally does defeat Spider-Man. He buries him alive, because what else are you going to do with a defeated Spider-Man? He takes on the Spider-Man mantle to try to sort of prove that he can be better than Spider-Man. He beats a villain named Vermin that Spider-Man was only able to beat with the help of Captain America, and so he's like, I did it! I'm finally better than you. He lets Spider-Man go, and then he commits suicide.
Jesus.
Yeah, because his obsession with becoming better than Spider-Man had been consuming him in a very mentally unhealthy sort of way. And so he sort of got this catharsis for that also made his life feel super empty.
Okay.
So anyways, it's considered one of the best Spider-Man stories of all time. Later on, his family brought him back with magic, and now, because of that magic, the only one who can kill him is Spider-Man. So he sets up this massively, massively elaborate trap where he kidnaps all of the animal-based heroes and villains and locks them in a magic science dome that no one can get out of in Central Park, and hires a bunch of rich, douchebag, African poacher-type people to go in with robot suits and hunt them.
What?
Because, the hunting theme.
Sure.
The whole point of this is Kraven tells Spider-Man, I will let everybody go and stop all of the killing if you kill me. And he does this whole diatribe about, one life for many lives and predator versus the prey and how, it's your duty as the spider to defeat me and protect all of them. It was a very big deal. It was a crossover that lasted like 6 months. Some people died. It was very sad. Spider-Man, of course, refuses to kill him because that is Spider-Man's moral stance.
I feel that might be overly...
At this point, I mean, yeah, like one life for many lives is a thing that makes sense.
But more so, it's not like the trolley analogy where if you pull the lever, it'll kill only one person instead of 5. It's like if you pull the lever, instead you'll kill the evil trolley driver that is driving intentionally towards 5 people. Like, there's one person who is clearly at fault who wants to be stopped.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with Kraven in this sense, and not Spider-Man.
I kind of agree that Spider-Man should kill him. I don't agree that Kraven should have done all that.
Well, yes.
Like, bro...
So that is a moral dilemma that I don't always like with superheroes, because I understand the idea of drawing the line in the sand and no matter what, I will not cross over this line. But life is not that black and white.
Also, at
like,
a certain
ever.
point, then you have killed those other people.
Yeah, if you had the ability to save them and chose not to,
you've killed those other people to save the one guy who was doing it.
Well, and to protect your own moral high ground.
Yeah, to avoid your own culpability in this.
Which is like
almost I'm so
worse.
Sorry my life wasn't valued higher than your being able to sleep at night with yourself over your morality. Like,
yeah.
Suck it, bro.
When the other thing that just didn't work for me here, Peter comes back with this big speech, which I will read for you now because I do love to do my speeches. We are more than blood and bone. I learned that from the people who raised me, and I see it all the time in the people I love. We weren't meant to just chase and devour each other, constantly looking over our shoulders or searching out some new victim. We're here to help one another, care for one another, lift each other up. We give ourselves to other people, no matter what it costs. Believing that doesn't make us naive or weaker than you. It's what makes us stronger. And Kraven goes, oh, okay. And lets everybody go.
What?
I agree. I normally really like Nick Spencer as a writer, but I didn't get this. Like, I don't know if I missed something or if he was trying to imply something that didn't quite show up on the page, but I don't understand what Kraven felt like he learned that he now is like, oh, okay.
Like, you're wrong. Oh, you know what? I hadn't thought of that before. That's a good point. I am wrong.
Yeah.
All right.
So he lets himself get buried alive and considers that he's now at peace, which I don't think that sounds peaceful at all.
No, definitely. If you're alive during that.
Because you're immortal. Yeah. And so he's just going to be super bored, like, forever.
All right. Just go kill some more animals. I don't know. Make it harder on yourself. Like, you have to do it with your pruning shears or, like, a nail clipper. You have to kill every big game with a nail clipper. See if you can do that. And then when you run out of that, do something else.
Use your pinky.
Yeah. So what happens if Spider-Man dies? Then Kraven's just alive forever?
Yeah. Or some other magic undoes the magic that means he can only be killed by the spider.
I'll bet on that one. Was it by the spider? Because maybe then any spider bite.
Perhaps, yes. He calls Spider-Man the Spider.
Sure.
And so anytime we get something from his perspective, I can only be killed by the spider.
It'd be great if he just gets like a brown recluse thing and just like a neurotoxin.
He's like,
well, I should have planned this better. All right.
Yeah. And so now his clone is going to be the new Kraven the Hunter. And his clone is more evil than he is.
Like his clone doesn't just accept the argument that I'm wrong?
Right. And his clone is sort of angry at Spider-Man for...
Why does he have a clone? No. I can't do it. I can't do it with that face.
Let's just accept that was one of the setting backs of status quo, is that instead of Kraven having gone through all of this adventure...
Got a clone. I get it.
Yeah, now the new Kraven is this cloned version who's going to go back to just kind of being evil, like he was earlier on before he sort of became obsessed with Spider-Man and went down this obsession hole.
Got it. Okay.
So with that, I think maybe we should spin the wheel of segments. Because at this point, we already have to cut like 3/4 of the things that we talked about.
I mean, we're not. This is going to be a long episode, but all right. Well, guys, we're at that segment where we spin the wheel of segment.
Yep.
I'm not re-recording that. That was fucking flawless.
All right, just spin the wheel.
And we have 5 minutes or less.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Explain to me what this one is again. I don't remember this one being on the board.
I added it just for this episode.
What is 5 minutes or less?
In 5 minutes or less, I am going to explain all of Spider-Man.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm going to explain all of Spider-Man in 5 minutes or less.
From start to finish.
From start to finish. Everything he's ever done.
Okay, let me get a timer set up. I would have had a timer set up already, except I didn't know that this was on the board. And go.
Okay, so Peter Parker was bitten by a radioactive spider, and it gave him the ability to like climb walls in the proportionate strength of a spider and whatnot. And then his uncle got killed, and he was like, "Oh, now I know about responsibility, so I'm going to become a superhero." And so he built these web things so that he could swing like a spider, because that's what spiders do. And he's also a scientific genius. And then he runs out of money, so he goes and he gets a job at the Daily Bugle taking pictures of himself as Spider-Man so that he can make ends meet. But it's really, really hard, and his Aunt May is always poor and sick and needs all of this extra medicine. And so he's like, I got too many things. And then he's also got like all these girlfriends that he's trying to juggle, like Betty Brant, who's the secretary at the Daily Bugle, and Gwen Stacy, who's his girlfriend throughout college, and Mary Jane, who's the girl next door that I guess they've been in love with each other secretly forever. And so then all these villains start showing up, and he fights the Green Goblin, who's just a guy with a mask that is goblin-y. I've never really thought about that. The Green Goblin is a really, like, he's not anything anyway. and Dr. Octopus, who has 4 metal arms, and the Rhino, who's a big, strong rhinoceros, and the Lizard, who's a big, strong lizard. And, you know, he's got all these animal-themed villains because he is Spider-Man, and he always wins because he's the best. And one of the things that he also does is stop a lot of crime. Like, he stops Kingpin, and he stops Tombstone, and he stops Hammerhead, who are all just mafia bosses, essentially. And then the Punisher shows up, and he's like, you should be killing mafia bosses, and he's like, no, I ain't gonna. And so then Punisher's like, oh, okay, well, agree to disagree. And then the Green Goblin kills his girlfriend Gwen Stacy, and he gets all upset about that, and then the Green Goblin dies, but it turns out he didn't really die. He was just in Europe for 30 years. And and then he dates Felicia Hardy for a while. He gets a black costume from space that turns out to be an alien symbiote that is evil. And he's like, I reject you. And so it goes and grabs Eddie Brock and becomes a villain named Venom, who's like, we hate Spider-Man so much. And then let's see, where am I now? I sort of skipped over the 70s, but that's okay. We don't really need that. And then so he goes to school and he gets a degree and he's all science smart, and then he marries Mary Jane, and they live happily ever after for a while. And then there's the clone saga, and all of a sudden he's got 1 million clones of him, and he and his clone Ben Reilly aren't sure which one is the original Spider-Man and which one is the clone, and there's this crisis of faith in self. And then Aunt May dies, but it turns out it was just an actress that had been hired to look like Aunt May, that the Green Goblin had hired to sow a seed of doubt inside of Peter. And so then it's like, everything I know is false. And then it turns out that everything he knows is true, and he is the one true Spider-Man, and everything's okay now because he overcame his obstacles. And now it's the year 2000, and okay, and a guy named Ezekiel comes and says, the spider chose you when it bit you. It did this on purpose because you are supposed to be the incarnation of the spider, and you're going to get hunted by these interdimensional spider hunting dudes. And so the interdimensional spider hunting dudes come, and he dies, but then he gets better, and now he's got better powers, and now his webs come out of his wrists instead of his machines, because that's what was happening in the movies at the time, so they had to change that. And then he joins the Avengers, And he's like, oh yeah, the Avengers, sweet, we're the world's greatest heroes and I'm part of you. And then he reveals his identity to the whole world and he's like, everybody, I'm Peter Parker. And then Kingpin kills his Aunt May and he's like, no, what have I done? And so Mephisto undoes reality and takes away his marriage to save Aunt May. And he goes back to nobody knowing who he is. And then I'm totally blanking on what happened next.
Started a company?
Yeah, but there's like 10 years between that where he just kind of goes on some adventures fighting bad guys and whatnot. His aunt marries J. Jonah Jameson's dad. That happened for a while. And let's see, he fights more bad guys. And I'm super out of time. So Doc Ock dies and steals his brain and steals his body and becomes the superior Spider-Man. And then the real Spider-Man comes and goes on an adventure called Spider-Verse, where he meets all of the Spider-Men from all of the rest of the world, and they defeat the interdimensional spider killers.
10,
then he founds a company.
9,
then he destroys the company.
8.
Then he gets back together with Mary Jane, and then he wins at Hero.
Ding, 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 ding. That was exactly 5 minutes. And you got everything except the 70s and a 10-year span you forgot in the 2010s. Wow.
Spider-Man!
Okay, well, we're the DoomBots. We hope you enjoyed the show. You can check out the website, DoomBotsPod.com, or you can follow us on social media at DoomBotsPod on Twitter and Instagram, Tumblr too, maybe? I'm
Yeah,
not really
sure. And
Yeah.
Pinterest. We're all over the place.
Yeah, and DoomBotsPod really will get you wherever you need. Yeah, so generally just follow us. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll also take listener mail. That's what we do here. We take listener mail. So if you want to email us questions that we can answer, that Searnold can answer, because I can't answer shit.
Zach will make up what he thinks the answer might be.
And then Searnold will give the real one. That's actually a great idea. That's a great idea.
So send in your questions.
Okay, that's going to be our segment once we start getting some fan questions.
Yeah.
Next week, I think we're going to talk about, like, the news stories.
I'm going to explain how Dr. Doom went from being God to being Iron Man.
That's such a good pitch. I don't know what that means, but that's such a good pitch. Oh, wait a minute. What's up with Mojo? Like 2 weeks ago, you were talking to me about Mojo. And the Mojo... Do you want to save that for an episode that isn't already an hour? Let's keep teasing Mojo. Mojo and Sinister free cable. Let's do it next week. Here's what I would like to see. I would like to see them realize that they had been married, right? And then realize that Mephisto had deleted their entire memory of each other in time. Uh-huh. Then Meta come out into our universe and beat the shit out of the Quesada for having Mephisto do that in the first place. And there's like this whole weird intro thing. We're like, wait, what the fuck is happening right now? That's the former... Anyway, sorry, that'd be great. Keep going.